The original Fighting Force, a game that has left its mark on my childhood. Now, as some of you may know, I covered the sequel to this game in the past, but I neglectfully forgot to talk anything about the first one. Now, this was a project I had wanted to do in the past, and since I am more comfortable in my new editing software, this would be the perfect time to do so. But before we begin, quick history lesson. Our story about this game originally begins with Sega. You see, at the time Streets of Rage 4 wasn't made yet, they originally were going to make a new Streets of Rage game back in the late 90s. But unfortunately, Sega gave up on the concept, and the concept got ported over to the PlayStation and was given the new name of Fighting Force. Knowing this, do you think this game is going to be an exact clone of what Streets of Rage was? Let's start the game and find out, shall we? So if you boot up the game, you are greeted to one of the greatest sounds of my generation. Back in my day, if you saw this logo or sequence of events on anything, you knew you were in for some fun. Eidos was making very good quoting games at this time. Then after that, everything gets kind of, weird. This little intro has so many red flags that it just doesn't make sense. I really don't understand this. This sentence here, I could not, for whatever reason, read this correctly as a kid. I get what it's trying to say now, but it could have been written far more better than it actually is. And what do you know? Look at that! Everybody appears to be made of plastic. Okay, if people actually release these figures, those would be kind of cool to have. But, really? Another pattern that you will see with this game is the game just kind of expects you to fill stuff in. Like with that intro, it doesn't say anything at all about what you will be doing. It's just like, play Fighting Force, we're cool. You don't know what the game is, but play it. So you pick your character and then I guess alright, admit it, that was the best couple seconds of your life. Believe it or not, this is actually the whole game. The whole game boils down to this gameplay that you're seeing right here. There's nothing more and nothing else the game has to offer. I really can't think of anything else say here. Okay, that is a little bit of an exaggeration, but you have to remember this game was made after Streets of Rage. So there's not going to be much in the gameplay department. Still, this game does have its own special unique things to offer. One of the very first things you're going to notice is, holy crap, everything blows up easily. Because of the 3D space, they were able to take more advantage of the 3D environment, creating items you can destroy, pick up, or use in combat. Before I get ahead of myself, I should mention that you have your punch, kick, and back punch buttons respectively. On the surface, that doesn't seem like a lot, until you realize that most of the commands are hidden behind buttons or combinations of buttons. So the game does a very good job of working with what it has. This game knows what it is and plays to its strengths, but at the same time it doesn't exactly hide its weaknesses either. What weaknesses am I talking about? Well, let's look at the game story mode, shall we? This goes back to what I said about the game expecting you to fill in gaps. No story is ever even mentioned. The game does manage to tell you that you are chasing an evil crime lord named Zen. But other than that, those very few faint little story beats, it just feels like you're beating up people for no reason. In saying that though, this game is surprisingly addictive. You can find yourself countlessly coming back to this without a little explanation as to why. And it doesn't help that there actually is a score mechanic to the game, so there's that. And actually, there is nothing more that I have to say. With this game, you get what you get. It is surprisingly addictive, but it does have some shortcomings like the story that I mentioned. Let me know down in the comments if you remember this game. Did you have fun with it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.